All right, ARCA and Nashville. Here are my settings. Ratio offset, you could do whatever you want. Brake bias, go minimum 57. I just put down a good lap here, and I got a light 0x on exit. I'm sad about it. So first lap, hot lap here. Track temp's like 112 degrees, I think. So very, very slick, which means that we can't be too aggressive on the throttle, especially on this concrete surface. So the way that we set up our lap here is going to be very interesting. So we're going to go way up top, and then we're going to stay up here for a little bit. Then around the first purple, we turn down. Then we try to go full throttle all the way through here, and we just try not to turn our steering wheel too much and get that run. Very good. Should be maxing our revs just about. We want to late apex this corner slightly, arc into it. We don't have to get all the way down at the yellow. It's ideal, but we really don't have to, as you can see here. Pretty good turn there, and then 3 and 4. Same thing. The lower we get, the more loose we're going to get on exit here. That was good. You can see that tank slap time coming back. Just about the same time. So we're consistent at least. .112-degree track temp, so yeah, that's hot. Okay, so turn 1 here. Probably need to turn this down, I apologize. This is the most important part, to have quiet. So, as we get into the corner here, you want to make sure that you are on the brake as you're coming down the entire track. So, I do turn my wheel a little bit early to point it, but it hasn't really gone down the track yet. As it comes down the track, I want to be on trail brake, and I want to aim to get to the yellow, maybe, but it's more important just the shape of it. If we get down there too early, we're going to be asking too much of our right rear throughout the corner, and there's very little grip there. So what I'm actually just going to do is a more traditional arcing corner entry, which is something that I say don't do a lot of the time. But here for hot lap, it's by far the best. And you see that the one thing I want you to see, I don't know what I just said there, sorry. I pick up the throttle, and my car doesn't go anywhere, okay? The car does not slide up the track. It doesn't come down the track. Your goal is to pick up the throttle as the weight shifts and at an amount where the car stays locked in its lane. If you're picking up the throttle and your car is moving laterally at all, it's not the right amount of throttle and it's not the right timing. So you can see here, just locked in my lane under throttle. I know it's going to get loose here, and so I'm kind of waiting for it. A little bit too crazy of an overcorrection. It's going to get that loose. I can wait on that partial a little bit more and avoid all that looseness, but it's at the cost of a little bit of lap time. So I'm just trying to get on it early, and I know that as I get on it, I'm going to have to unload my wheel, and it's just going to start snapping. Obviously, this is not something I would do in a race, but it's something that you can push for in hot lap. Turn 3. Honestly, the corners drive very similarly to me, because as we wide arc these corners, the angles of the corners end up not meaning a ton if we're just going to arc them. So in the same vein, I'm just trail braking down the hill. Under throttle, I point the car, and then I turn down the hill under trail brake, and then I hold that trail brake till I get to the point in the track where I want to lock my car in, and then I lock my car in by doing the amount of throttle. And then you really got to keep your car at the yellow here, because on exit, there's this part, and you'll see here, right? These are all my tire tracks right here. These are all the times that I have lost my rear and spun out in this particular part of turn 4. For whatever reason, the exit of turn 4, you lose grip right there. And I think it's because it's like one final little mini kink how the track is designed. And if you ask too much out of your car there, it's just going to lose grip and spin out. So make sure you're down on that yellow, and then really make sure that you can make the exit before you unload your steering wheel and go full throttle, because you're not going to be able to really ask much from your car from that final bit, where although a lot of people are used to being able to do that. And then, come and cut that. Lines for long run are going to be similar. Oh my Gosh. I've hit tab like... No, oh my, I did it again. Okay. I hit tab like 45 times there. So, what you're looking for in the long run is basically to keep your car neutrally balanced through the whole corner. There will be some laps where the car will really want to be loose. I'm thinking later in the run there's going to be times where your car is going to want to get tight. So we're just trying to drive a line that allows our car to drive neutral for as much of the corner as possible. Don't want to have a ton of those snaps on exit. I don't think anti-arcing or early entry is super good at this track just because of the surface and how the track is shaped. For whatever reason, I think that the runs that you get are better if you just regular arc. I could be proven wrong, and I'll update you guys later. But I think that this like actual more traditional arcing type of line is what feels better on my car. But that felt tighter, right? And I think what happens a lot of time at Nashville is you can feel really loose on this arcing line for a certain amount of laps. And then after a certain amount of laps, it just starts plowing. Ow, ow, ow. And you don't want the car to be plowing at any point. So if you're driving this combo and you start plowing your arc line, really try maybe to go back to anti-arcing and forcing that rear to kick out. Anti-arcing being that early entry where you get to the bottom before the corner even really begins. Like right here, let's say I'm going to anti-arc this. Like this can be good. But you see it's a little bit slower, and it really seems to beat up the right rear. Maybe if you do it really good, it doesn't beat up the right rear. But if this arc line, this right here, if getting to the yellow late, but see, this is already plowing for me. And then, so it gets loose there, but that's not necessarily saying I'm not plowing. Like, it snaps loose, which means I'm getting a tight to loose condition, which is like the epitome of destroying your right rear. Or sorry, right front. So, really focus, or not focus, really mess around with your lines and try to figure out which of these lines is keeping the car off the right front the most. Let me try to anti-arc turn one here. Really early down to the yellow. Wait on the yellow a little bit longer. And then really try to get the car driving off the corner on the rear. It's like a 1/10.5, 2/10. No, it's not 2/10 slower. It's maybe 1/10.5 slower. Maybe a 1/10. But I think it comes back to you. Because I think that arcing just might, depending on the track temp and all the variables, you just might end up plowing your right front too much if you arc. And that's how it usually is in ARCA, but sometimes this like 1.33 concrete, this can have a mind of its own compared to kind of the conventions that we use at regular 1.5s. But it could be even different per corner. Like, yeah, that corner feels fine arcing for me in 3 and 4. Is it faster? No. So maybe it's not even worth it. But this 1 and 2, I felt a ton of plowing every time I've been arcing the corners here. I think it has something to do too about throttle pickup. You don't want to go too hard on it or else it'll straighten out the car. So there's a lot of variables and a lot of the stuff that we always talk about on this channel. But that's what's fun about all this, right? A lot of things can go into what the right decision is. I think that at the end of the day, this anti-arc line is not that much slower than the arc line, especially after 3 or 4 laps. And I think that that'll help you keep off the right front. If I go into my garage here, I'm guessing, yeah, right rear is actually wearing there. But as the race goes on, it really can start leaning on the right front. So you got to be careful of that. So even though my right rear is wearing more there, that might just be from a couple of mistakes I made. I still think I'm trying to conserve that right front. But we'll see how it plays out, and I'll let you guys know. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.